This boat is a Bantry Bay gig, and Lowell's Boat Shop is about to begin construction on a new one. It's owned by Atlantic Challenge USA, and at 38 feet long, it's likely the largest boat by length that Lowell's will have ever built. Atlantic Challenge USA's executive director, Arista Holden, led rowing sessions, a ropework class, and gave this presentation about everything Atlantic Challenge. Join us in the basement just after spring launch to listen in on some great stories.
We're here to talk about Atlantic Challenge, and Arista is going to tell us all about it. And I asked how I should introduce her, and she said, I'll just do it myself. So
Very independent.
ask Dorothy. Dorothy likes to do it herself. Take it away, Arista.
Thanks, Graham. Well, why I am here is because I drove through here to see Lowell's for the first time after hearing a lot about it from Graham at Wooden Boat School, where we've overlapped, and Alice, who I've known over the years and overlapped here and there. Yeah, here and there. You got to go to Lowell's sometime. So I came down here in November for about 2 hours, and in that time, we moved a bunch of docks. And also, Graham paced, without telling me what he was pacing, the length of the shop upstairs and said, we could build you a Bantry Bay gig. And I didn't know I needed a new Bantry Bay gig. And then I presented to my board, and my board was like, yes, Lowell's. We've started the nonprofit in 2019. We've reformed it. Atlantic Challenge has existed since 1986 as a vision for a competition between many nations, and we've sort of taken it to another level of hosting harbor rows, communities rowing and sailing, expeditions on our island base, and just continuing to evolve and develop the program. We integrate music and crafts. Peter Lamb is instructing one of our programs this summer. And Dylan Lads has been our media person and sailing instructor, trains the team for the competition. I'm going to explain all of that in detail. The essence of everything that we're doing is this. From trees, shaped by the hands and the minds and the spirits of boat builders, we create these beautiful containers in which to grow people and communities. That's it. I could leave now. But also, what's so beautiful about the containers are, say you toss a bunch of sea glass, sharp glass, onto a rocky beach, and it gets tumbled around, the edges get taken off and get a little softer. And I'm saying that that's what happens with the people in this, is that through working together in the boat, through learning to lead, through learning to follow, through becoming actually physically stronger and more skillful, we build upon our capacity to care. We build upon our capacity to have a compassionate response and just become more tolerant and patient people. Being of service to each other in the boat is a practice for being of service to each other out of the boat. And you get calibrated to new levels. And that's so important in our day and age, as we know, with increasing screen time and increasing isolation, is to have these opportunities to grow. And that's what it's all about. So these are Bantry Bay gigs. They are French Admiralties gigs. This boat that we have copied, more than 85 times around the world in 16 nations, and one on the dock right now, is all copied off of this boat, which is in a museum in Dublin. You can go see it. And it was on one of these French frigates. The French went to basically rally with the Irish to make a force against the British in Ireland in the 1790s. It's kind of fun to think about what was happening here in the 1790s and what was happening in Bantry Bay gig world in the 1790s, Napoleonic Wars. It was a failed mission. and dismasting, big storms, and the Admiral's gig, Bantry Bay gig, was lowered with the captain and crew as a sort of last resort to save themselves. They were captured and the boat went into a cellar for 150 years. It was rediscovered in like the 40s and restored. Lance Lee, who started the apprentice shop, he and a colleague, Bernard Caderet of France, thought up, probably over too many bottles of wine, I'm guessing. Let's have a matched race where our youth can get to know each other, but also preserve these seamanship skills that are at risk of being lost. So the match race, let's have it go over 10 days and do rowing, sailing, navigation, all of that. And Lance's background, this is a shot from Outward Bound. He's 87 now. He lives in Rockland, Maine. He started the apprentice shop. He started his career in boats as an Outward Bound sailing instructor in Aberdyfi, Wales, where the first Outward Bound school, sailing school was in the 40s, founded by Kurt Hahn. Kurt Hahn, gosh, there's so much to say about him, but he started many experiential education schools, including one in called Gordonston in Scotland, which the whole premise was apprenticeship and getting kids to apprentice with local boat builders and craftspeople. That was the whole premise. So this is sea training, I believe, in Aberdyfi. So Lance in Aberdyfi sailed dipping lug boats. It's very similar to our dipping lug. There is a connection and a thread. That's Stan Hugel, who he was mentored by, the famous shanty singer and one of the last sailors of the great grain racers, clipper ships that are around the world. So in 1986, the apprentice shop in Rockport, Maine at the time, the apprentice shop has moved locations for lots of reasons. Having a fiery director is one of them. Here they are building the first 2 Bantry Bay gigs, and they brought them to New York for the first contest between France and the US for the bicentennial in July '86. And those are all apprentices working with a master builder. "38 feet long, a little more than that, and 6.5 feet wide. It fits inside a 40-foot container, because sometimes we do ship them all around the world. There's the first launching in Rockport. The shop now is in Rockland, which is a neighboring town. Not too creative with the names up north. And they all are given French names. So the Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité, those are all the first gigs' names. Ours on the dock is Loyauté. And our other gig is named Humanité. So that's fun. Yeah, so it was successful and inspiring then. And now it's grown to now a contest. We've had a contest 1986 to 2018 every other year. There was a 6-year pause, and then we hosted the last contest this past July, 2024. There's typically like a dozen nations that show up. It's just a lot of effort, expense to get the boats there, the team together. All these teams are community rowing programs. To become a member, you have to build or acquire a boat. Usually acquiring one from a team that has like an old one that that's extra before they can raise the money to like build their own. So we've given one to Kyiv, Ukraine, and Roskilde, Denmark, to jumpstart their programs. And yeah, there are more in the world. Like I said, there's like between 85 and 90 in 16 nations, from Russia, Indonesia, Ukraine, throughout Europe, Canada, and here. That's the Indonesians. So there's the boat plans are all the same. However, material sourcing varies quite a bit because you can't get cedar and oak easily in Indonesia, but you can get teak and mahogany. And then they have a carving tradition, so they're kind of showing their cultural slant on it a bit. And the Indonesian team is associated with their university engineering program, and this is like an elective to build a boat and fundraise and figure out all like getting to the contest. It's kind of amazing. Showing this is a young Lance on the left. He doesn't look like that anymore, but I'm showing him his best self. He's still a handsome guy. I really admire how bold and visionary he has been. He got a letter in like the late 80s from a Russian crew that they wanted help. How do you build an apprentice shop? We want to build a gig. We want to get involved. But it was still like USSR. It was still Leningrad. And he found a way to get in. Like, he took a cruise ship there, but then he's like, yeah, and then I escaped Interpol and like down a back alley, and I was free. I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. I don't know if I believe that story, but here you are. That's Lance. So these two people had written him this letter, Sasha and Masha Vaidesha, and they, it did become St. Petersburg. The borders opened up, made it travel a lot easier in the early 90s. So he invited 2 Russian apprentices to Maine to build a Bantry Bay gig. And that helped jumpstart their program there. There's 2 Russians in there with Lance on a training on Greens Island. And he just took a risk to create those ties and friendships, which are still going on 40 years later. And they built this boat in Noblesboro, Maine, with 2 Russians and some Americans. And that boat is now in Denmark, built by international folks. The Russians also really inspire me. The Russian team members. Let me clarify. Not the politics. They had a half-built boat. The gunwale is not on that. It's not framed like it's not totally fitted out inside. They wanted to come to the contest and they figured they'd like work it out. So they were in St. Petersburg. They went north to Murmansk and they didn't have any money, so they hitchhiked with the boat and on a fishing trawler to Nova Scotia. They fished and they sort of worked on the boat, but not really. They got picked up by the Rockland Apprentice Shop, driven down to Maine, and they finished the boat there. And that's the boat being launched in Rockland, Maine. Oh, wow. And then they trained a little bit and they went to the contest. They just like made it happen with little means, and that's sort of the spirit behind so many of these endeavors and efforts that like Lance has shown me that it's possible. The Russian crew has shown me it's possible. So now I know, I'm like, I think we can do this. And they started a Russian apprentice shop. They've gone on to build like very big Russian Navy replicas of Peter the Great's fleet. They needed more people on the team when it was in Rockland, Maine in 2002, when I was wee. And I joined their crew, and I had such a good time, and there were language barriers, and it didn't matter. I felt like some of the most like sense of belonging that I ever have, and that showed me that it was really not about politics or language. So it's just about working together in the boat and forming that trust. And that's pretty special. That's driven me all these years. That's in Rockland, 2002, when we were just playing. Kids from around the world playing. Need more of that. I went to Russia the next year because I loved it so much. And I went on their training base, and I spent the summer with them doing expeditions. This is an old military fortress. You can see the rebar. There were also missiles laying about, but we still have our fingers and toes. And this is in 2024. I've been involved with Atlantic Challenge in the early 2000s, and then I took a pause and then got back involved 2010. And then I had kind of a bad experience with Atlantic Challenge. It was difficult in that it was so competitive, so focused on competition, that when something went wrong, we had a collision. We broke our little boomkin. It was scary. I wanted to talk about that with the team that broke our boomkin, because it felt like avoidable, and it felt like an intimidation thing almost. And they said no comment. And I was like heartbroken, and it hurt. It was really hard. It created tumult in my crew. My young, youthful crew didn't really know how to respond. They wanted to like trust me, but they're also like, we didn't win. So it inspired me to think about like what are the conditions to create a healthy, compassionate community that's not just in the boat, that's not just on Green's Island for the week, but like on an international level, on the Atlantic Challenge level, because that's the platform that I'm working with. And so, yeah, I thought a lot about that, and that drove me to like, yeah, I want to host the contest in Maine and see if I can create those conditions for community. I wanted to have a lot of mixed international events so the crews could mix rather than having just your national team compete every time together, but like work with other teams mixed together in the boats. That happened. 3 of our 6 boats were mixed international. And then we had a national Irish, US, and Belgian team, and the others were mixed from Indonesia, Japan, France, Ukraine, the Basque Country, part of Spain, and the US, Canada, Quebec. I wanted public concerts in the evening. I'll just show you the things that happened. So the first night, this was a school where all the kids camped out last summer. And the first night, I don't know what happened. I felt like everything was gonna be okay. This was the very first night, and they just decided to hug me. Yeah. All of the participants. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, everything's fine in the world. I've done my job. I'm happy.
So you're like in the middle there.
I'm so stoked. I don't know why that happened, but I was stoked. Also, when you plan an event, you should plan it around someone else's event. So we just worked with the Celtic celebration, which was already having fireworks. I'm like, great, that's our night 1, baby. And we did a little wrapped up with our gigs, and yeah. So yeah, I focused a lot on like creating that container. That the first couple days, like how to bring these people together, how can they feel like they are part of a bigger circle, so there aren't those tears when things go wrong on the competitive field. We have a source to communicate. Repair, I should say. So this was just like they're balancing a rope ring. So I like this exercise where everyone's like leaning out on this one circle of rope, and I talk about like their impact on each other. So I'm like, I send off like 10 of them. I'm like, you all got drunk and we're obnoxious, and then see, we can all feel the impact of that. It's sort of my way of explaining like we all impact each other in always for positive and for those other decisions that are maybe negative. So they got that. So there's the boats in the harbor. We just had 6 because there was a 6 years pause and a lot of teams hadn't maintained their programs, and it was just a big effort to get to the US, rally a team. But I'm hopeful that Denmark there'll be a full 12. We sponsored an international team, and they trained on our island base, Greens Island, for 2 weeks prior to the competition. These are young people from Japan, Indonesia, the Basque Country, Ukraine, and the US, and France. And they won an award. They won the award for, what was it, Dylan? Atlantic Challenge Spirit? Yeah. And we had a parade. And I had my mom make a bunch of flags. She's amazing with sewing, but I also put a bunch of other flags that weren't necessarily like national flags, because that wasn't necessarily what I'm trying to promote. I'm not trying to promote nationalism. I'm just trying to promote like people from around the world getting to know each other. So I wanted it to be colorful and more about like the names of the boats and the crews rather than USA or whatever. And music. And that's Lance on the far right. And here's what it sounded like. And we did a boat parade. Everybody was invited, even if you didn't have a Bantry Bay gig. That's our harbor. Come up anytime. So we're at we're on a river that leads out to Penobscot Bay. We're right on the edge of the Passagasawake River. Kind of like here, but way less current. You all have a lot more.
I thought we had a ripping current, but yeah.
No, you all have a ripping current. Yeah. Bonfire night 1. I just put a lot of thought into how to set a good tone. Here's more of our local people. Sweetness. And then day 1, the first event before we got into competition events, we mixed all the crews up and sent them on a massive scavenger hunt throughout the harbor and to get a lay of the land, but they also had to pick up treasures. And 5, 4, 3. You can see they really can pull fast. This is the style event. It's a docking event. It's very cute. You wear a cute outfit. And then you deliver a dignitary the admiral, a dignitary, local dignitary, from another to a boat or to another dock, and you just have to have a really clean, perfect docking. That's the Irish team. That's the American. Evening concert. This is sort of the scene at night. Yeah, I didn't want the kids to just like disperse throughout the town, so I just sort of made a little party scene in the park. It was great. Had some contra dances every night. The public was invited. Anyone could come to anything in the evening. Yeah, like if you're gonna have a party in your small town, you invite everybody. Pro tips. This was 10 days of this every night. And more of that. There's the boat model. And then after our local, like main, like cute contra dancing stuff, we let the Europeans do their thing. Yeah. That's what the kids in Europe are doing. And then competition. Daytime. This is the international team sailing race. And so these boats don't have any keels or centerboards, and we have to go around triangle courses, and it can look like that. Like a real cluster. And every time you tack, the sails get dropped and switch to the other side. So you can see the boat, the white boat on the right. That's what's happening. They're tacking or jibing, and they're flipping the sail to the other side. So it's pretty dynamic. Oh, this race. So this is oars and sails, which means you row upwind, you transition to sail, put all the oars in the boat, set the mast and sails up, sail 2 legs, and then transition back to oars, to rowing. So they're transitioning, the white boat is transitioning to rowing, so getting their mast down so that they can get a full stroke in. And that's their strategy. Some teams just leave the mast up. But it looks like that. It's wild. It's scary. I'm scared. I'm scared now. Okay, this is in Belfast. You can see that transition happening around the mark. And it looks like collision. I just had to show the clip fully.
They're coming up to win, yeah.
So they're gonna like get their oars down, mast down, oars out, and they're gonna start rowing. There you can see sort of the roles of the people handling the sails as they're being lowered, dipped, and then raised again. So the halyards are the windward stays, and they also go side to side. There's a bottom corner of the sail, the tack, that gets unhooked, brought around the mast. And at the top, there's the yard, or we call it the lug, and that gets dipped. And then all of those pieces there's such careful orchestration that has to happen and communication to make sure no one gets like thwacked by the lug. and that no one like raises before things are attached. They move really nicely though, on a reach or downwind. It's always a little subtext. They're beautiful though, like I just love seeing them. They're so beautiful. This is a fun event. It's the Jack's Day. Oh my gosh. It involves anchoring the boat about 30 feet off of a pier or something, and then raising the mast, holding the boat kind of steady in place, not with a rudder, but with oars. Raising the mast, sending a monkey's fist with a heaving line attached to the halyard that's attached to the top of the mast to shore, and then they're going to transfer a package. Usually with like croissants or something. And then once they get the package, all of that rig comes down, cast off, and get out of here. It's a matched race with another boat. It's timed. And it can go great and it can go not great. There's Dylan lads throwing the monkey's fist. And here it is in Belfast last summer. Get those croissants. We're mostly people are food motivated. They got the goods. Is it sending the empty package back, I think?
This is for time.
Timed. And they can get penalized if, you know, the line's in the water, if they go over the line. It really puts, so many skills together. Anchoring, all kinds of stuff. This is a slalom event, so they have to row without a rudder through like a string of buoys, make a turn and come around. That's also matched against another boat. This is the Irish team. They won and they were ferocious. Yeah. Listen to their coxswain.
Go Ireland! Freaking rock.
Don't want to hear us laughing at it. No, they were amazing. Atta girl. Yeah, incredible, amazing. It was convenient to have this footbridge, so we placed all of our events around like very spectator-friendly zones, so you could see, so everyone, the public could see what was going on. American team post rowing race, feeling themselves. The school cafeteria cooked all the food, which saved us a ton of money. It was a very good deal. The school was we didn't have to pay for the school accommodations, and the city also donated dock space, the boathouse, the park, all donated. So that cut down on a lot of costs to host this thing. We did invest we gave them a lobster dinner at the end, like you do. And we had Mary and Aaron, they have young ones, and so they had they hosted a whole children's activities every day. And then we had an awards ceremony. The Belgians won. They won. Which is amazing because they didn't have a leader. They were all youth, Sea Scouts group. And they figured out their shipping container logistics, how to got the team here, they're fundraising, they did it all themselves. This is Roskilde, Denmark. I'm showing this because we're going there in 2026. To join the competition, you've got to be between 15 and like mid-20s or so. So if you know anyone, you can do a team training this summer and next summer, and it can be you don't have to have any experience. So it's really just about like someone who would want to do this and learn those skills and get this experience, the international experience, boat experience. So yeah, look us up and it's totally accessible. There's no prior experience required. This is Green's Island off of Vinyl Haven. That's Hurricane Island that we're looking at. So we do a bunch of trainings in the summertime. So we do competition focus, that's every other year. We do a team training every year, but we also host a series of programs that are not competition related, that are intergenerational, all ages, truly all ages. And this is Green's Island. Lance Lee lets us use his property on Green's Island, and his son now, who owns it, because they just want to see it being used in this way, which is great. That's a driftwood cabin that Lance built in the 60s. He fished logs like you do out there. But these have been pickled by the salt water, and they're preserved so they don't rot. It's kind of genius. They're great for docks and things like that, and little cabins. And that's Lance in the 60s doing it. I really appreciate that he built this little timber frame driftwood cabin. It does create kind of a spirit, gives this place a spirit of like, yeah, just go for it. It's really funky, it's cool, you can build out of driftwood, why not? It allows permission to be creative, and that's it. And we use that as our like main place to gather, have meals, discuss the situation room. And we have a stone pier on the other side of our cove that we do morning rows and we come and go from. You can see our tidal range is very similar to here. And we have to deal with the fog, as you do probably. But we also play fiddle. Which helps in the fog. And it helps to have a boat that sounds like a big drum play against the rhythm. This is a little how we use singing in the boat as a tool to sync up the rhythm. And we're going to have a program this summer that's all focused on singing in the boat.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
That you can come.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Well, anyway, could listen to that all day. It's so fun. We're also integrating this wonderful craft with our very own finest craftsman in all the land, Peter Lamb, who is going to instruct in Swedish handcraft, which is also called slöjd. And it's basically making like a birch bark shaker box, which keeps salt and other spices like desiccated so they don't get like crusty, clumpy. The birch has that quality of keeping it light and fluffy. And also it can be depending on how you build it, airtight, watertight. depending on how you build it. Mine needed a little help, but I love it. And it's fun to integrate these crafts, and we're also going to do ditty bags and some Marlin's rope work that week too. And another thing that you or someone you might know might want to come to. Right here on Greens Island. And we go to beautiful tropical islands. Have picnics. And we go to barrier islands. This is Brimstone. Incredible place. We do a week of like service, infrastructure, and also more boating. That's all ages. We like to like spend a week kind of improving things. This is a neighbor's log that we're just helping make a new dock for. That boat is now on the dock, and a couple weeks ago we built this ramp that we can build every year. It's like 60 feet long, and launched a boat. So that boat came from Greens Island a few weeks ago, doing this with a group. Every step of the way, there's like a big group effort. You really can't do it alone, which is good for me to be part of. We built some oars, beautiful part of our program. And here too at Lowell's is like you build your own equipment. So your oar breaks, you build a new one. And we have to keep up that knowledge. And fortunately, we had a guy on the right, Wes Reddick, who lives in Belfast, and he has built a lot of oars. So we worked in his workshop this winter in Belfast and documented and built like the perfect oar. And with one of our crew members that came to visit us for a couple weeks in January. Oars all the time. Oh, why did I bring this? Well, this is France. This is Douarnenez, I believe. I haven't been to that spot yet, but I found this photo at Lance's. I worked with him a bunch of years, and I love it so much because of the small craft. I see a bunch of Bantry Bay gigs in there, but I see a ton of small craft wooden boats, and therefore people who know how to use them. And so for me, this photo just breathes like competency, skillfulness on the water, ease on the water, enough to be able to like pack in there and have a thriving harbor like that. Like that's the dream. Let's more of that, please. I have something. This is a reminder because I have a final reading for you, and it's that's money. Hold on. Okay, well, this is a little favorite quote by William Murray, Hutchinson Murray, and it's really about honoring the dream and just boldness and just going for it, even if we don't have all the money yet. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And I have to thank Graham for saying, hey, can we build you a boat? And like pacing it out and be like, we could do this. And I'm like, okay, yes, let's do this. So yeah, we're 50% of the way to our fundraising goal. we're at 82,000. We really need 160,000 to make it go. Our goal was 200,000 because that would be sweet. But yeah, so if you want to support or know anyone who wants to support, take a little business card to remind you, and we hope to make this happen. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you.
Oh. Do you have any questions?
How many participants did you have in Belfast?
120 from 10 nations.
Impressive.
Yes.
So when do you need your goal?
We would love to start building this summer. And it's summer. We would love to be starting in a couple months. Yeah. Maybe.
We're sourcing with them.
We've given a deposit, and Graham has bought wood.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. It's just we got to keep it happening.
Atlantic Challenge is a wonderful organization, and I came up through Tall Ships, which has a very similar sort of feel in terms of community and all that. And I think Lowell's has a lot of that community as well. And so ideally, this partnership would go beyond the build, and our students would participate in Atlantic Challenge competitions and things like that. So this is sort of just the beginning.
Do you have a name? Do you have a name for the new boat?
French name?
No, but you could have the naming rights.
He's like, croissant.
It would be great to think of some fun names, though, like crowdsource that. I've heard a couple being presented. Inspiré, I don't know. So, whatever. Yeah, if you have an idea, make your suggestions.
Arista?
Yes.
Our suggestion is in Amesbury, we have the alliance that was built for the Continental Congress to celebrate its alliance with France. And they helped us win the American Revolution. So Alliance Park is right over there. You just
I think it actually carried Lafayette, didn't it?
That's actually really
That's a really good name. Alliance.
for many
That's cool.
many friends.
Yeah. Beautiful. Alliance. Sounds great. Well, we might have just named the gig. Great. Well, that's done. Cool. Thank you.